Now recording. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to VoterPros video tutorial. I'm Jude Barry and this is John Shulman. And we're going to walk through some important questions that you may be considering as you run for office. So the first one we want to talk about is why direct mail? John and I have worked on hundreds of campaigns. We've done a lot of direct mail. John is terrific. He's won a lot of awards. So I'm going to just reach out to John first and say, if you're going to talk to voters, tell me why you like direct mail.
I like direct mail, Jude, because it works. In simple terms, it's been used in campaigns around the country, particularly in low budget races where you can't afford radio or television. It's an opportunity to reach voters in a very strategic, very targeted way with a message that will appeal to each respective demographic or each respective geographic area.
Okay, so let's talk about that real quickly. So you mentioned something that's important, which is cost, especially for small campaigns. Tell me why direct mail is good compared to radio and TV.
The nice thing about direct mail, particularly with VoterPros, is we have a very high technical detail in terms of understanding the voters who live in the district that you're running. And so unlike television or radio, which spends a very wide net across a lot of potential voters, you're not necessarily reaching the people you need. They might not be registered to vote. They may not be likely voters, whereas with direct mail, we're able to really fine-tune based on the data to get your message in front of actual voters. And you can do that to Democrats, you can do it to Republicans, you can do it to older voters, younger voters, men and women. That's something you cannot do on any other medium.
Right, so you mentioned a very important concept, which is the concept of broadcast, which is radio and television, because everybody hears it or sees it, and narrowcast, which is direct mail, which means you can mail directly to a household where a voter lives versus a household where a voter doesn't live or someone is not registered. So you're not wasting money, you're going directly or surgically to the person you want to vote. Is that a good analogy?
It's a perfect analogy. You really get to be efficient, and what efficiency brings is lower costs. So rather than spending money on a whole bunch of folks who either don't live in your district or aren't registered to vote in your district, you're really able to use every penny efficiently and get to voters in a very targeted way, which is important to win.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a specific question that we get asked a lot by people we work with. How much money do you need for a direct mail program?
It really depends on how many voters you're trying to reach. On average, the U.S. Post Office is going to cost you somewhere around 28 to 38 cents per unit to deliver to a mailer. Deliver a mailer to a voter. And so somewhere in that neighborhood, imagine 40 cents, maybe 50 cents maximum to get to a voter. So if you're talking to 10,000 voters at 50 cents, you're looking at about $5,000 to reach a voter. Imagine what it would cost to develop a script and produce a television ad. It'd be many more dollars than that. And so this is very efficient and it's very targeted, as I said.
And for people who want to know what's the right amount of mail or how big their universe is, they can go to our site, and for free, by just signing up, they can look at information on any district in the country. We'll tell them how many Republicans are likely voters or regular voters, how many Democrats, how many independents. So you can really get an estimate of how big your universe is and calculate your costs using our direct mail cost calculator. So you can really quickly find out, okay, I can afford to do this or not.
Yeah, it's a great tool for people looking at running or who are already in a race but want to decide how to use the precious resources that they have. And it's go on the website, take a look up your district, put in various options, which could include just women or men or frequent voters or less frequent voters, Democrats or Republicans, and we will tell you exactly what it will cost to send a piece of mail out. And if that fits in your budget, great. If it doesn't, try to narrow your universe somehow. So there's really a way to work with this no matter what your budget is.
Great. And I'm going to ask you one last question as we sign off, John, and that is, What do you advise candidates who say, I want to buy a lot of buttons?
A lot of buttons are great if you're going to see a lot of people. And if you have 10,000 people that you're trying to reach, getting 10,000 buttons is probably not very efficient. And it also just says your name, whereas a mail piece will say your name probably many times over, plus adding your endorsements and your positions and what matters to you and why you're running. So buttons are nice, but it's really not the first place I'd spend money.
Well, I would give them a very simple answer, and that is you're crazy. If you want to waste money, do it. If you don't want to waste money, go to VoterPros, look up direct mail, and you'll have a much more effective campaign. Okay,
Yeah,
great. Thanks, John.
thank you.